The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Quick housekeeping item before we begin. If you have any questions throughout this presentation, there's a little questions drop-down menu in your GoToWebinar that you can just type your questions in, and we will answer them as we can. So real quick, I'm just going to go through the agenda and introduce our presenters, and then we'll get started. So today what we're going to cover is what is a customer journey plugin, why is this something that you might want. We're going to show you a demo of it. Why now? There's some incentives for getting it before the year is over. If you are interested, we'll tell you how to get it. And of course, as I said earlier, any questions that you have, feel free to just shoot them on over to us. So my name is Deneen. I'm the marketing manager here. And our presenters today are Megan Sheehan. She's a sugar trainer and business analyst, and Justin Kuhlthau, the sugar practice manager. Both very experienced sugar users, so they have plenty of insights for you today. With that said, I will turn the floor over to Justin and Megan.
All right, thank you, Deneen. So to get started today, we thought we'd talk with you a little bit about the customer journey plugin, considering that's the topic of our webinar today. And so what is the customer journey plugin? This is an add-on for SugarCRM. Sugar launched this around the middle of this year. I'm going to say June or July, something in that time frame. And it's designed to help you create, visualize, and standardize processes when you're working in Sugar. So the way that the customer journey works, and like I said, Deneen said, we're going to be doing a demo of this a little bit later on, but we're going to give you some background first, is you build out these journeys, these processes within Sugar, and you can see an example of that on the screen here, with different stages in them, and they work with different modules within Sugar. They can work with leads, opportunities, cases, accounts, contacts, even any of your custom modules, they can work with those as well. And so when you build a journey, you build a template for it, I guess I should say technically, you give the journey a name and you designate what modules it works with. And you also set up some assignment rules in terms of how do you assign different activities that might be created as part of that journey.
Once you have your customer journey defined, you would want to start adding stages to it. The customer journey we built for our demo today follows along with an opportunity sales process. So in fact, it matches the sales process of our opportunity module exactly. So the stages can group activities and put them into the correct order. You can see on the picture here we have 4 different stages: purchase, installation and configuration, validation, and production. So this can be thought about as kind of your process, whether it's a sales process, a triage process for cases, an account follow-up process, or even some sort of custom module process. Maybe you have an implementation process on a custom implementation module you want followed. Then we have, under each of those stages, activities. Activities are the actual task, call, or meeting to be performed. You can see in our picture here, the first stage has 15, not 15. It has a whole bunch of steps under it, or activities. The second one has 4, and 3 and 4 each have 3 each. Now each of these activities are an actual task, call, or meeting that are generated in the system and assigned to your users. So they can be synced to your calendar if you're using Outlook or CollabSpot or the Lotus plugin. They can be used and assigned out to different people depending on who you want them assigned to or how you set up your customer journey. In addition, each activity can be designated as a customer task, milestone, internal task, or agency task, which sound just like you would think they are, whether it's you doing it or your customer doing it, or it's just a milestone that needs to be completed, or some outside agency. And as I mentioned, each activity creates an actual task, call, or meeting that is assigned to the specific user, and given a due date based on when the customer journey was started, when the stage was started, or when the previous activity was completed. So you have a lot of leeway on how you want each of these steps assigned out, what you want them to be, and when you want them to be due.
Now that we've given you a little bit of background on what the customer journey plugin does, we thought it'd be good to talk about some reasons that people might want to use the customer journey plugin. And the number one reason that we're hearing from people is for process standardization. So for example, Justin already mentioned a few examples of different types of processes that you could set up or different types of journeys that you could set up with this plugin. You might want to have, say, different case processes that are based on the product type because the steps that you take resolving an issue may be different from one product versus another. And so you can have different processes that automatically prompt your users to follow the correct process based off the product that they're working with.
Another case type process you could have is a triage process that leads you through a series of questions or steps to figure out what the problem actually is. Then you could actually have a second process added to the case where once you've decided what process you need, you choose the next process, or the customer journey is just a module like any others. You can have workflows based on the module, and you can automatically add processes to a record at specific times if you wish. So then we've gone through triage, we have this new process, and that can help us take that case to completion and have a happy customer.
Another really common process that people have as part of their sales process is a lead qualification process. So depending on how many steps or questions or pieces of information you need to gather in order to qualify a lead and determine that that's someone that you want to invest more time in working with, you could have that set up as either a one-stage process or several-stage process for each of the different pieces of information that you need. Could be different activities within that journey. Another way that you could use the customer journey process to standardize a process within your business would be for some sort of account maintenance program. So maybe you want to implement yearly touch points with your customers or quarterly or monthly follow-ups with your existing customer base. You could set up processes to guide your team through making those connections with people, when to schedule them, as well as what to talk about at each of those points within the process.
Megan mentioned lead qualification process. Internally, we use this for a few different things, two of those being migrating from one system or database to another. What information do we need to gather in order to generate an estimate, or what we need to know, get the data we need to complete that project? And migration is very similar to integrating two systems, but they are slightly different questions, so we have two different processes for each of those.
Justin and Megan, if I can interrupt you for just a second, we have a question here. They want to know, can each customer journey be restricted by roles and teams, aka can only the East team see a particular journey?
That's a great question. I believe the answer is yes, but I'm going to double check on that, or maybe Justin can double check on that, and we'll get back to you a little bit later on in the webinar with a definite answer to that question.
All right, thanks guys.
So moving on into other reasons that people would use the customer journey plugin. Another common thing that we're hearing from people is that the customer journey plugin really helps with user adoption. It provides the ability to guide users on how to use a module within Sugar because it automatically shows them what the next steps are within the process that they're trying to follow. And so it helps your users pick up Sugar. It also helps them just generally pick up business processes. So if you've got a new salesperson, for example, who needs to learn your company's sales process, having a customer journey for that sales process makes it really easy for them to see what are the steps that they need to take and what order should they be doing those things in. And then of course, at least for people who are using Sugar for sales activities, obviously one of your main goals is trying to increase your sales. Having better process standardization and better user adoption should lead to increased sales.
And finally, we have monitoring effectiveness of the processes. As I mentioned before, the customer journey is just a module like any other, like your account or contact. It just looks really nice on the screen, as you'll see during the demo. So you can run reports and dashboards against it. You can get insights on how users are or are not following or using your processes. You can track the number of activities completed by your users to see what the average number each of your users is doing per month, things like that. And we also mentioned that you could do workflows to drive other events based on what you're seeing coming out of your customer journeys.
Okay, so let's get to the part that you're probably all here to see, which is the demo of how this actually looks and works in Sugar. Let me go ahead and bring up Sugar here on screen. And we're going to start by looking at an example of an opportunity sales process that we've created as a journey. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to opportunities here and pick an opportunity from my list, which happens to be partway through the sales process. So as we're going to see in just a second here, the customer journey screen within Sugar lives just on your main Sugar screen for the relevant modules where you have journeys that are available. And so below your main part of your screen, whatever your typical current Sugar layout is, and above your subpanels or activity stream views, it lives in between that area. It's a really nice visualization of where you are within a process and what the next steps are. So just really quickly and easily when I'm glancing at the screen, I can identify what is the next thing that I need to do and what are the steps that are coming after that versus what are the steps that have already been completed. There's also a corresponding dashlet that you can use for just kind of more of a high-level view. So over here on the right side of the screen, I'm showing that, where it shows me which stage I'm in. So right now the qualify stage is completed and the needs analysis stage is where I'm currently at, as well as the fact that I've completed 31% of this particular journey and the steps within it. I'm going to go ahead and create a new opportunity and kind of walk you through the process from the very beginning. So let's go ahead and start a new opportunity here. And pick an account. Sure, why not? And a close date and give some dollar amount here. So once I've created my opportunity, I can either automatically trigger a customer journey to be started based off workflow rules, or I can give the user the option to add a journey themselves. In this case, I don't have an automatic journey being triggered, so right now there's no journey started for this opportunity. In order to start one, all I need to do is pick from the list of available journeys and add that. This is where it becomes really nice that you could have, or relevant, I guess is really a better word, it becomes relevant that you could have multiple journeys available for different types of processes. Even in the realm of sales, your business might have different sales processes for different types of sales. You might have some sales that are quick and only have a few steps versus others that take a longer sales process. You know, one thing that we see is we have a different sales process for a new customer who's implementing a CRM for the first time versus working with someone who's already implemented a CRM and just needs to make some enhancements to it. So new versus existing customer opportunities. Or you might have different opportunity processes for different products that you're selling. You know, Justin mentioned a little bit earlier about the migration and integration lead qualification processes that we're using. Our process for selling Starfish, our migration and integration software tool, is substantially different from our process for selling someone Sugar. And so we can have different journeys for each of those different products or categories that show the different steps that you need to take depending on the type of sale that you're making. Once I've added my journey here, we're going to see that show up on my screen. It immediately sets that I'm in the first stage of the journey and that so far I've done 0% of the tasks and all of the tasks show up. As Justin briefly mentioned earlier, what we've done in this particular journey is we've matched the stages to our sales process. And so we have, you know, 5 different stages here that correspond to our different sales stages within this particular sales process. Within each stage, we can see the various tasks that are there. So a lot of our stages have 3 tasks. This one has 4. There's a lot of different buttons and icons on the screen that give us information or allow us to do different actions. So for example, all of these little purple person icons indicate that these are all internal tasks. These are tasks that need to be completed by our team. Versus the green star is a customer task. This is something that I need to get my customer to do for me or my prospect to do for me as part of my process. The Journey Builder also allows you to set up blocked tasks that can't be completed before a previous step. So this little icon here, the no-go icon, is telling me that I can't complete my preparing for my presentation until the prospect that I'm working with has agreed that this is what they need, and so I know what I want to present. And so you can have any of your activities within your journey blocked by previous steps so that they can't be completed out of order, or you can allow the users to go in a slightly different order if your process has more flexibility to it. I can easily complete any of these steps right from here by clicking these little check mark boxes, and that will go ahead and update that task or that activity as being completed. If I go ahead and complete all of the activities in a stage, it will automatically then move me into the next stage. And so as you complete activities, it's very interactive, very quick at updating where you are within the process, as well as even updating that dashboard. So I can see I'm now 18% of the way through my sales process. You also have the flexibility of potentially needing extra steps within your process. So let's say, I'm going through my sales process. I've gathered the requirements from talking to my prospect. And after I left that meeting or that phone call and I started to work through my notes, I realized I had some follow-up questions. So I need to schedule a follow-up call with my follow-up questions before I can really summarize and have a full understanding of what the client needs. If I want to track that as part of this particular journey, I can go ahead and I can add an extra task that's not part of my main template, but in this particular instance, in this particular use of the sales process, I have an extra step I have to complete. And so I can actually just make that part of my journey. I need to schedule a new call for some follow-up questions. Whoops. And that's going to become part of my journey. In this case, it's not going to impact my template. So if I were to go ahead and deploy a new journey with a new opportunity, it wouldn't be there, but it just becomes part of my process and it becomes part of my activities within Sugar. I may need to refresh in order to get that to show up, but we'll worry about that in a second. You can, when they're not blocked, you can complete tasks out of order. So I could say I scheduled the presentation before I'm really ready to do the presentation. Maybe they want to schedule things out in advance. It will then kind of change some of the color coding again on the screen. So I haven't actually completed everything in the needs analysis stage, but I've started on the presentation stage as well. So it's showing me that I still have some things that need my attention in the needs analysis stage, even though I've started to think about my presentation already. Let me go ahead and refresh here. As you are working through journeys and creating journeys, each of the different steps or activities within my journey are activities that are tracked in Sugar. So they become part of your standard Sugar activity functionality. You can use your home screen with your dashboards to see your activities. You can, as Justin mentioned, integrate them to Outlook or to Gmail with CollapseBot, for example, or with the Lotus Notes plugin. Anything that you're using today in order to track activities, it becomes part of that process as well. And so I can see the various tasks that are part of this particular opportunity now that I have this journey going. And depending on the settings within the template determines, whether they have due dates already or whether they get assigned a little bit later on in the process based on when I get to a certain step. And so I can also see those tasks here in my dashboard, for example. Here is my upcoming tasks that I have scheduled that have due dates that are coming up, and I can say, okay, actually I can go ahead and I can do that, and I can complete that from here or from my home screen as well. And when I do that, again, I probably need to refresh here to get that to see that, but that actually will update this task in the journey and mark that as completed as well. So it's syncing back and forth between the two, making that very seamless for users, no matter which way it is that they want to mark that task as completed, whether it's from their home screen or from the journey screen. It's going to go ahead and recognize that and keep those two in sync with each other. So now that was this someone here that's now completed. Another really important thing about this plugin is that it does exist within the structure of Sugar, and that means you can use a lot of the other standard Sugar tools to work with customer journeys. So for example, I think Justin and I have both referred once or twice to workflow processes. One of the things we've done in this particular demo environment is we've set it up with a workflow process so that as I move from one stage of my journey to the next, it's automatically updating the sales stage on my opportunity to match that. So this opportunity has automatically been moved to the needs analysis stage because I completed everything in the qualify process, and I've moved into the needs analysis step of my process. Now, we did that with a Sugar workflow process or process author or advanced workflow, depending on which name you've heard. This is Sugar's new workflow tool that's available in Enterprise and above. You could also have done this with the old workflow management tool from the admin screen. It probably would have been multiple processes instead of one, but the same functionality would be available. And so just to give you a quick peek behind the scenes at that, this is what that process looks like, just based off the different stages changed in the customer journey, updating the corresponding sales stage within the opportunity. Another process we could be using but currently are not is you could automatically start a sales process based off of certain triggers or another journey, like Justin had mentioned with cases. As you fill out certain case details, you could automatically assign the correct process based off of any of those characteristics. This also extends into reports, so Justin is going to talk a little bit more about that. Oops, if I can click on the right screen here. I should have bookmarked that report for you, though. That's probably in my recently viewed. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Again, as Megan just showed, the customer journey module is just like any other module that can be used for workflows or even reporting. And just like any other report, we can pull data directly from the module, as well as traverse relationships to related modules. In this example, we're looking at a report showing opportunity customer journeys. As you can see, we've grouped based on the journey stage and traversed the relationship to the opportunity to sum up the likely amount for each opportunity and displayed other opportunity fields in the report details if we scroll down just a little bit. This report looks a lot like any other opportunity sales stage report because we did build it based on replicating an opportunity sales process. Except for in our case, our customer journey has the added benefit of those sub-activities. When we're reporting on another module or another process for something like accounts, contacts, leads, or custom modules, some of those ideas we looked at, you can get a nice chart of where we stand with our processes for records that may not normally have a standard process, like a case or an account or a contact. In addition, the customer journey module and reports behave just like any other in that they can be used in dashlets. These dashlets can be used on the home screen or intelligence panels. You can see here we have a chart for the opportunity customer journeys by stage on our home screen. So you can imagine you could have a bunch of different charts on your home screen displaying the data you want to see when you first log into Sugar for a number of different modules. Just above that, we have a list view of our customer journeys with a nice custom progress bar they've given us, so we can get a very nice overview of whether they're my customer journeys, or as a manager I could look at my team's customer journeys, or an admin can see all of the customer journeys. You may also notice that there's a score there. Each journey has a number of points associated with it, and each task has points associated with it for the total of the customer journey. Leveraging these points can add a bit of gamification to your processes.
And that's also a good way to mark the most important activities within a process. Within your process, some activities may be worth 20 or 30 or 50 points, while others may only be worth 5 or 10 because they're not as important to the success of the overall process. Or you may use the same scoring for every single task and weight them all equally. All right, so that takes us through the demo. There's a couple of other things we want to talk about, and then we'll take any additional questions that you have. One of the other things we wanted to talk about is the name of this plugin. So the plugin is called Customer Journey, and that's because it was built in response to the buzz and the movement to do customer journey mapping. So I don't necessarily want to get into too much detail, in part because I'm not an expert on this. I'm just a beginner at customer journey mapping. But the idea is to flip your perspective around and think about things from your customer's perspective. So one of the things I remember hearing that made a whole lot of sense to me when I first heard about customer journey mapping is no one comes to you and says, I'm a lead or I'm an opportunity. That's our internal sales terminology that we use to try to represent where somebody is within a buying process. But really, someone comes to us and says, I'm researching something, or this is what I think I need, or I'm trying to make a decision. And so it's an exercise in better understanding what the steps are that someone is making or taking when they're buying something from you or thinking about buying something from you. And going through that exercise can really provide a lot of insight into how your customers are buying, which in turn can drive your marketing and your sales efforts. This is something that's definitely very popular right now. The statistics we've got on screen here is 86% of senior level marketers say it's absolutely critical or very important to create a cohesive customer journey. So I think it's something that you're going to see and hear more about if you haven't already started to see and hear this word and this phrase used. And if you are starting to go through customer journey mapping, or you already have, or you're interested in doing so, this plugin really makes it easy to take what you've learned through that exercise and bring that into Sugar so that you can really put your sales teams and your marketing team's hands on it and make it part of their day-to-day process.
Why now? Well, why would you maybe want it now, or why are we doing a webinar now? Well, they've just reduced the price to $12 per user per month, and you no longer need to purchase a license for every licensed user of Sugar, although there is a minimum of 10. What that means is if you have 150 Sugar users, but only 50 users would use the customer journey, you can purchase it only for those 50 users of the customer journey. Also, all of the awesome stuff we just talked about. So you're interested? How do you get it? You can call or email Megan Dries, our internal customer advocate, or Molly Anderson, our sales rep, or just email sales@techav.com and we can talk to you about pricing, what it would take to get it in there, and things along those lines.
if you're interested and want to learn more about the Customer Journey plugin, we're going to be doing an online user group about the Customer Journey plugin in January where we'll dive in a little bit deeper. One of the things we'll be doing during that online user group is actually creating a customer journey. So talking a little bit more about how you get to the stage of what we saw today, which is using a customer journey. How does it get built in the first place and how easy that is to use. We're also looking for some ideas for what customer journey to build during that time. So if you've got ideas or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us, sales@techadv.com or marketing@techadv.com, and those suggestions will get filtered off to me and Justin, or reach out to us directly if you've got our contact information as well. And we'd be happy to hear what you think in terms of what you'd like to see us do as part of that meeting in January. And with that, I think we're going to open the floor up to questions. So, Deneen, I don't know if any other questions have come in.
There are quite a few. So one of the questions we have here, is the customer journey available for all versions of Sugar or only specific versions?
The customer journey is available for any of the editions of Sugar, so Professional, Enterprise, Ultimate, Corporate, and it's compatible with versions 7.6 and higher. So if you're on 7.6 or 7.7, then you are ready to start using the customer journey plugin.
Okay. Can multiple users have journeys on the same account? And if so, can other sales reps see another user's journey?
All right, this kind of also goes back to the question we had earlier about customer journey access. Customer journey, I double-checked my initial guess. It does have the same standard security functionality that Sugar has because it is just another Sugar module. So you can use Teams to restrict who has access to which journeys. You can use Teams to determine who can see each other's journeys. So you can allow people to see each other's journeys if they did have multiple people with journeys with the same account, or you could choose not to. You could use roles to say people can only see their own journeys, or you can leave it open and say people can see each other's journeys as well.
Pretty neat. Okay, there are also a couple other questions here. Is there a limit to how many customer journey templates you can create?
Nope, that's just another Sugar module. It's something that typically is managed by your administrator, but can be opened up to other users as well if desired. Yeah, so it's just another module. You can create as many as you need.
Are there any features of the customer journey that are industry specific?
If you're new to the customer journey mapping, it does come with a bunch of sample business to business, business to customer journeys, and you can use those to kind of duplicate them or modify them to work for your customer base.
Excellent. Okay, another question we have here is, would a general sales user need training to create or use these journeys?
I would say in most cases a typical sales user would probably not be creating journeys, but certainly it's not difficult to create journeys. It's just something that we typically see locked down to just administrators or super users just because you don't necessarily want 8 million different journeys available in your system. Using journeys, I think you all saw how simple and easy that was to pick up. It's very visual, very intuitive, so I would not expect much training would be required in order to teach new users how to use that.
As a non-technical and I'm definitely nowhere near the SugarCRM level that you guys are at, I can tell you I found it pretty easy to pick up right away when we were being trained on it. So if I can do it, you can do it. And then another question we have is, can the customer journey be used on premises, or is it only available on the Sugar On Demand?
It is available on premise. The demo instance is on premise that we were just looking at.
And just to be clear, it's also available on demand.
Okay. give it another second or two for any other questions that anyone has that we have not answered yet. I think we did get through all the ones that are currently in queue. I don't know if we want to jump back to that screen about how to contact us, just to have that up there for you guys if you do need to see that. In any case, I will be messaging this or emailing this to you within the next 48 hours, so you can have this presentation at your disposal. You can watch the video again, share it with whoever you would like to share it with, and go from there. And it looks like everyone's good on their questions now. And with that, I would just like to thank Megan and Justin for doing this presentation for us and showing us this new capability. And we hope that this was informative for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either Megan or Molly, who you see on the screen here, or any one of us. You can always reply to the email that I will send you with follow-up to this. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely afternoon.